Thank you very much for making the time today, Raj. Let me jump straight in. Tell me a little bit more about how you started Entrust.
Thank you, Hansi, for having me over. In fact, it's a pleasure to be talking to you here. Entrust was born in the year 2013, and uh, I was heading Kotak Private Banking, Kotak Wealth Management for North India and South India uh, for almost 8-9 years. And I started in Kotak in 2000, and then I started in 98 and then went on till about 2012. And so I've seen private banking from corporate fixed deposit times, and where people had 50 lakhs was a big check those days, 50 lakhs when we used to have a party. And over a period of time, I've seen private banking travel in terms of the money coming into the hands of the entrepreneurs, and people are getting wealthier. And there was a definite need of a wealth management business where these kind of services, clients were in need to handle their monies carefully. And Kotak rightfully, in fact, jumped into the business very early, at an early stage. And we were the pioneers in this business, and we started and we reached out to almost all clients, and we were market leaders. Now, in this journey, I saw specifically large organizations have a different format in terms of the business, where you need to acquire more number of clients. There should be a lot of revenue. What happens is there is a focus in terms of an individual client keeps reducing as the number of clients goes on. And what happens is invariably large clients needs a very personalized and kind of a very focused kind of a service. And there was a definite need of a boutique, a private bank, or you can call it a wealth management outfit, and now we call it family office. And typically, one is a confidant of the client, and you don't have too many clients, and you service them for all their requirements. And more so, there's no pressure on revenue. There's no pressure on, what do you say, products. You do what is right for the client. And so that is the primary reason why we thought an organization like Entrust made sense. And that's when SEBI came out with the investment advisory guideline also. So we thought it's very ideal to have an unbiased firm taking fees from the clients and advising them on their assets, on their investments. Now, over a period of time, what happened was the clients just not used us for investments, and they started using for other services. Invariably, clients had a lot of real estate in their portfolio. They had some houses, they had land, they had some commercial establishments where it needs to be managed. And also there's a lot of legal work involved when it comes to real estate. And clients also started diversifying in terms of geographies, some international investing, and also into startups. As you're aware, Bangalore is a startup capital, so you get a lot of opportunities when it comes to startup opportunities. And we started servicing them for all their requirements, start building our team based on this requirement. So that's how Entrust was born, and we have entered the 9th year, and we believe that we have managed, to acquire very reasonably a small set of clients, and we are managing them very effectively. It's a very high touch model, and where we focus on each of these clients and offer them the service.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that overview. So there's a bunch of issues you mentioned in here. One is the business model. Second is the licensing. Third is the scope of services. So you've evolved all of these, but in the sense, family office is different from wealth management. Did you think when you started that the time was ready or ripe for family offices, multi-family offices to take off in India? Where do you see that in its evolution?
See, actually, what happens is it was a journey. Actually, when we started as investment advisors. Very clearly, our expertise was more in terms of managing monies, and all our lives we have done that earlier. And family office, we got introduced because when Kotak set up their family office or was in the process of setting up, I was involved in the setting up process. I was part of the McKinsey team, which Kotak hired to give suggestions for how a family office should look like, what is the kind of business model, everything. And so I was aware what a family office is, but it was too early in India. And even if you look at after 9, 10 years, I really feel saying that very few clients understand, though there is a lot of buzz about family office and people talk about it's a very fancy, nice term to be calling fancy family office. But really what happens is the need for a family office, when the family office should be set up, whom should have a family office, all this is still a kind of a very not a very clear thought in the minds of clients. And it is still early stages, I would say. We are very, very still early stages. But yeah, but we have gained some kind of an expertise. I had traveled to the US. I met almost like about 7 to 8 family offices. I understood what is the kind of work they do for their clients. And we had very, what do you say, we spent a lot of days interacting with them, understanding the business model. We found that most of what we are doing and what they are doing were very similar. So that was a kind of a stamp for us saying that yes, we are doing the right things, and we are on the right path towards a full-fledged multi-family office.
Okay, so today, as it stands, 9 years into the journey, how would you say you are different from a typical wealth management private client firm?
So the basic difference is alignment of interest. So I am an extension of the family. A wealth management firm can be one of the wealth managers for a family. They have service providers. But I'm part, though I'm a service provider, but I'm an extension of the family because the family confides in me in terms of all their efforts, because we will not be able to manage overall if I don't understand what is their long-term requirement, what the kids are going to do, whether we need to set up a trust in the abroad. So there are a lot of requirements which the family has got. Only they can't confide to 5 wealth managers. See, actually what
Right.
happens.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So my question was exactly that. So you may say you are an extension of the family, but how does a family decide that they are going to confide in you over and above the 5 other wealth managers that they might be dealing with?
It depends. It takes time, Hansi, because it doesn't happen overnight. Because trust and kind of see, some clients you know them very well before, so they start, you know, half of their issues. Okay, then automatically when they sign up with you, they start dumping all their issues on you. Okay, and then that is easier to what do you say, get deepened into the relationship. But where when you sign up a new client who's come to you because of a client reference or because of some kind of a word of mouth or something like that, they tend to take their own time to understand you. Okay, and it doesn't happen overnight. For some clients it happens even after 10 years, some clients it happens after 2 3 years. It depends on the client's mindset, the client's what do you say, how he views, how much he needs to confide in people, how much he needs to hold on to his chest. These are some of the things is very individual to each and every client. It's not, you can't really saying that everyone behaves the same way. So I really believe that trust gets developed over a period of time. But once you start engaging with them, once they see action, once they see how trustworthy you are in terms of your actions, okay, not just words, but how you're in actions, automatically the clients come back to you and start giving you more work. That means that they trust you more and they start discussing with you all their issues, and you will know. It's a kind of a process, it's a kind of things which you will be able to recognize it very fast.
Okay. So you said that the clients start sharing their issues with you, which is something I've always thought even financial advice becomes almost like a trusted psychologist. But other than, I mean, is that a natural part of your personality, or is that a skill set that you have to acquire and train your staff for, to actually listen to the client and be there for them?
See, one end you can train. There are two things which I would always say, saying that it's not every private banker is the same. If you look at in India, I would say there would be about 20 to 30 private bankers will be unparalleled. Not in terms of what is the kind of business they get in, but in terms of the kind of understanding of the client, the way they treat their clients, the clients treat them. Okay, and it's a very different trait altogether. How much ever you train, it's a kind of a personality. Okay, it's a kind of how you engage with the client, how much you talk to the client, how much the client, what do you say, wants to disclose to you. These are some of the things which happens over a period of time, and it depends on the personality also. The client should like you. The client should feel saying that you are trustworthy. The words and deeds has to be matching the actions. There are a lot of things which the client observes over a period of time, and that is how I believe that this happens.
So, from that perspective, um, someone young can't be a family office advisor. I mean, do we have to sort of develop this over time and for clients to appreciate it?
I believe that a family office advisor at least will have to have 15 years plus experience. Okay.
So talk us
In
through
fact,
your org structure. So how are you set up? How many people do you have, and what is the breakup between various sort of products and services and so on?
so we have a very, in terms of, we are, I always saying that we are arguably one of the largest investment advisory team in terms of, so we have a very large, what do you say, team in terms of products. We have split into two. One is taking care of the private equity and listed equities. So that sits in Bombay, and then we have a Bangalore-based team which is into third-party products, asset allocation, and fixed income. So that is based on and also commodities, that is based on Bangalore. So all put together, we have more than about, I would say, about 14, 15 people in the team. This is on the product side. On the business development side, we have about 7 people, and client servicing side we have about 5, and apart from that, we have a lot of chartered accountants, we have lawyers, we have other people, support staff in terms of some people to manage real estate, everything. Yeah.
So overall, how many?
Overall, the count as of March 31st is about 60 years.
60.
60 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that was my next question in terms of talk us through your business model and therefore the scale that someone would need to be able to sort of start a family office. What is your business model? So, do you charge a flat fee to the family? And how does that change depending on the size of the family, the level of reporting, the sort of services they want? How do you charge for your services?
So there is very hard. You can't have a fixed fee for all the services what you offer to a client. It will be very tough, because just take an example of it's very simple to have a fixed fee for assets under management, particularly on the investment side, which is more on your mutual funds or list of stocks or your PMS or AIF or fixed income or something like that. But when it comes to when you add unlisted investments, when you add real estate, the kind of volume of work goes up substantially. So you can't have a fixed fee for everything put together. Very rarely client will be even comfortable paying a fixed fee for all that. It depends, and it takes a lot of time for you to what do you say, to graduate to that level. Okay, I would say the average fee which you need to charge to be in the business for this kind of a business is, I would say, roughly about 0.65 to 0.75% you need to charge, and otherwise you can't offer bespoke financial services expertise to a client. Okay, and typically the minimum size for a family office, I would say, and this, I think we have spoken some time back when I think we met in a seminar. I was telling you, saying that family office is not about what the kind of assets you have. It's a kind of lifestyle product. Okay, typically a client who's got 50 crores may need a family office. A client who's got even 200 crores may not need his family office. I'll tell you, I've known a client who's got 200 crores plus, but all his 200 crores is in fixed income, and all his 200 crores is in tax-free bonds. Okay, so he does not need a family office at all. Okay, His life is so simple. He has simplified his life. All his money is in tax-free bonds, and all is locked in for the next 15 years. And where is a question of having anybody to manage any money at all? He gets his annual income and he spends from that. And life is quite simple because he does not have a kind of a lifestyle which needs a lot of work to be done. So it depends on the individual's lifestyle, individual's commitment, passion, what he wants to do in life in terms of businesses or philanthropy, what he wants to do. These are very important things to start a family office and or hire a multi-family office.
Okay, so could you give us an example, some maybe 2-3 different types of archetypes of clients that come to you? So what do they look like? How big is the family? What kind of services do they come to you for specifically, rather than going to a wealth manager?
So there are, I would say, we have a family which they are living in the US. They have a very large property here in India, and they are in the process of all of them have lived in the US for the last 30, 35, 40 years. And but it's a legacy. They own a very large property which throws up almost like 10 to 15 crores rent, what do you say, per annum. And they had some people who are quite old, and basically they're getting old, so they might retire at some point of time. And the family also is getting old. They want the younger generation to take over at some point of time. So they wanted a family office to come in and take over all this, because to manage this rentals, to manage repatriation, to manage the liquidity. So it's a pure liquidity management, repatriation, and also what do you say, to take care of the real estate, what do you say, negotiate on rent. So that is one example where the client wanted a family office. Now, the next case I would say is saying that a client who's got about 80, 100 crores, he was doing his own in terms of he was investing on his own. But over a period of time, he realized saying that this is getting complicated and he's not able to focus his, what do you say, energies on what he wants to do. He was, what do you say, getting pulled too much into investments. And he is also getting too emotional in terms of taking wrong decisions when it comes to investments. So he felt saying that he wants a dispassionate family office advisor who will advise him, not only advise him on investments, but also on his overall estate planning and what do you say, to take care of his assets after his lifetime. Okay, and this both of them, whom I spoke to, are nuclear families. The first family had 2 sons, and the second family actually has only 1 son. And so they made kind of a quite decent money. One is legacy wealth, but being in the US, they are very what do you say, progressive in their thoughts, because normally legacy wealth people are very what do you say, they don't share information much, because they are what do you say, they have confidants with them for the last 40-50 years. Only with them most of the information lies. For a newcomer, they may not share information. But this is a family which has got legacy wealth, but they've been in the US for 30-40 years. They understand what is banking, what is wealth management, what is family office all about. So they completely depend on us for everything.
Right. So there are 2 examples. How do sort of families find you? How do they even, do they come to you having done research on what family offices are? And obviously this US example is probably not a good one because they already are in the US, but people living in India, do they know what family offices are, or do you have to educate them? And if so, do they compare you and do a beauty parade like they do with wealth managers? Do they do that with family offices?
Some people do. In fact, we have had what do you say, experiences where we have been called along with the other family offices one by one, and we have presented. And we actually, at the end of it, we don't know even the criteria of what they went, how they selected, and all that. In some cases, what do you say? We got the mandate to manage. Some cases we lost out. Okay, we actually don't know. The family has not been transparent enough to tell, saying that why the mandate was not given to us. But
the ones that you got, did you ask them why they selected you?
No, from the word go, we understood saying that the mandate is going to be with us because the kind of comfort, the kind of disclosure, transparency, the way it was discussed. So, saying that the family is trusting you very much and they're going to be with you. But in cases where people don't share much of information, they're very closed, they just take the information from you and they say saying that we'll get back to you. Saying that it's not a very easy thing, and we don't know even saying that what made them kind of a decide. Some people gave some information saying that they had local presence and all that. But typically, saying that what happened, and in fact, I even jokingly told that gentleman, I know him very well. I evenly told him that the day you decided saying that you want somebody local, the lockdown was announced, and from that time onwards, people have not been allowing anybody to meet offline, meaning face to face. In fact, this happened in last March, and immediately after that lockdown happened, and even now, in fact, we have not met any client face to face. So it's a very unique situation. But yeah, but otherwise, most of the clients uh, understand the understanding of the family office has considerably going up over a period of time. I would feel it's a kind of a learning curve for clients also. But what a UK-based family office or a Swiss-based family office or a US-based family office, an India-based family office, huge difference. Huge difference. I think in India, still family office is a very, what do you say, a glorified wealth manager's job. In fact, but few people have understood. In fact, uh, what do you say, graduated from a wealth manager long back to a full-fledged kind of a family office. But many clients, from clients' perspective, I would say is still an extension of a wealth management.
Right. So you advise families on succession planning. What about your own firm? How have you structured it? Should something happen to you, would your clients continue with the firm? Is that firm sort of sort of diversified enough in terms of ownership?
So what we have done is, see, we have built this company not to as a boutique family office firm, and not a firm which we will eventually want to exit the business or sell the business to somebody or take some kind of a partner in or something like that. It's a typical private equity model, right? You start you set up a startup. After a point of time, proof of pudding is in terms of the business plan is set up. You make some money, you show it to private equity people, you start taking series A, series B, and series C, and finally you exit. Okay, that's how most of the people do. If you look at even the large wealth managers, everybody is listing the company today. In fact, most of the companies, even the latest, what you see is Edelweiss, has got a huge investment from an international private equity player. So everybody, so once you have a PE, once you have other investments, what happens is they would obviously look for an exit. They will look for what do you say, returns. So typically, the advice what we got from some of our very large clients is, please don't what do you say, raise money for this kind of a firm, because it'll just put you in a treadmill. You will just start making the same mistakes what a wealth managers used to do earlier. So the business what we are building is built to last. It is not built to sell. And we are a very what do you say, very boutique kind of a family firm. And we are, like, my wife is in the business, my son is in the business, and the people who are working with us again as is like more of an extension of the family. In fact, most of them, I know them for the last 15-20 years. Sometimes I would have worked with them, or they would have worked, resigned, and they have come back to me, or I would have known them from my professional circles. So most of them are known to me, and they've been with me for the last 8-9 years. So it's a kind of a very closely held kind of a company. And the reason we brought in family, because people started asking the same question, saying that, hey, what is the kind of succession you have in the business? So we have brought in the family members, so that there is a kind of a succession. People can trust. See, what happens is when you have outsiders, sometimes what happens, they leave you for greener pastures, or they leave you for you say for a better opportunity or anything for like that. Okay, typically how much ever you pay them or how much ever you take care, but finally there's no guarantee that people are going to stay with you. Okay, and typically we have also had exits before, but majority of the people have stayed with us for more than what do you say, from the time of inception. People have stayed with us, and clearly that is the reason we brought in family members, and it has worked very well for us. The kind of what do you say, the kind of engagement level with the client has gone up substantially, and we believe our business has also grown over a period of time because of this decision, and we're very happy with that.
Right. In fact, there are some family offices, multi-family offices that are also raising capital. In fact, I have an interview later on today with one of them. So you've decided not to take equity, but there was no reason why your staff can't have equity, right? Like, why would you decide to go? I mean, I don't know your wife and son. I'm sure they're passionate about the business as well. But I'm just generally saying, if your team is 60 strong, why not some of them taking equity in the business?
So they had equity. So it's not that nobody has got equity. There are people who have got equity in the business, but equity makes sense only when you sell the company. Okay, because otherwise, if there is no exit, the stock is a kind of a piece of paper in your hand. But we believe in what do you say, earning and sharing, and we believe in what do you say, taking care of the people very well. And most of our people are being taken care excellently well, and we believe in sharing profits, and we share profits with our team members. So the idea of what do you say, equity is to get the upside when your value of the firm goes up and you exit and somebody comes in. So as long as you don't have that opportunity here, and you don't feel that there is somebody who's going to come and take over you, or you're going to sell this company to someone, then there's no point in having a kind of a piece of paper. Instead of that, it's better to take care of them very well by sharing profits with them, and that is what we believe in, that we have been doing.
Okay. So if I'm a family, I represent a large family, and I'm in the market to find a family office. If I come to you, what would you say is your key value add of all the services that you provide? What do you say is your key value add, and why should I pick you?
Look, key value add, see, everyone is going to talk the same thing, right? Because if you talk to 5 family officers, everyone will say, I'm competent enough, I'm good, I have got trust, integrity, everything is the same. So you can't really differentiate between one family office and another. The only thing is test the what is it? The proof of the pudding is the eating. So unless the client, what do you say? The client, the potential, I would say the potential client talks to a few existing clients, understands the business model, looks at the processes, looks at the way we have managed, looks at the way we have, what do you say, generated returns for clients, or the kind of process we follow in terms of advising them. So it's a kind of a long diligence which the family office has to the family has to do. Once at the end of it, the family will understand, saying that how we are much different. Because see, anyone in a pitch will always, the pitches will be the same, because everyone will pitch the same thing. So I would always, what do you say, allow the clients to do diligence, engage with us for a longer period of time, see the kind of consistency in what we talk, how we perform, how we recommend, and how we execute our various things, what we are talking about. Then automatically it's very, very easy. So I don't think any client can just saying that, hey, I'm going to do a beauty parade, I'm going to meet with 5 family officers and decide one in the next 2 months. I don't think that's the right method to do, and particularly when you are deciding on a family office. It takes a very, very long time to decide, because I think you should engage with family officers, understand how they recommend, what is the kind of parameters they look at, what is the kind of services they offer, how they execute, talk to them on various opportunities, give them opportunity to present to you, at least for that. It should definitely take at least 6 months time before you could finalize on a family office to engage.
Right. Okay. And if I were to help some of these family offices to do exactly that, what we are doing is going to your website and taking all the basic information in terms of what services you provide, if you have an investment philosophy, any business model, any information that you give on your website or through such interviews, we have collated that, and we're putting together a criteria that families might use to be able to do that. And that's exactly what I was saying. should we be focused on one factor or the other in your case? But you're saying we should be able to look at all the services and I guess let the
See,
families.
actually, everyone will have. See, if you look at the top family office, I would consider. I would not say every family office is the same. If you consider one or two family offices or three family offices, which is in a country which has got a kind of a good business model and they have some kind of a track record, then
And who would you
everybody
say
will
they
talk.
are? I mean, Waterfield, for example, is obviously a name that has been around. But who else would you say should be in that list?
No, I would know only Waterfield. I would not know anybody else in that same league because one is what do you say pedigree. Number two is in terms of longevity. People have, like Waterfield is here for last about 10 years. Okay, we have been here for 8.5 years. So it's basically we are two of the oldest in terms of the country. There are a lot of people who are coming in, but I would not know much about them. But these are the two names which I can confidently say. But both of us will have capabilities. What do you say? The pitch will be very, very similar in terms of what we are going to offer. But unless the client engages with us and see the kind of work what we have done with clients and what is our capabilities, you'll not be able to decide.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And just on that point, you said there's only two multifamily offices. What does that say about the demand of multifamily offices in India? Is that demand or is that a supply issue?
I would say supply is not an issue at all. Demand is an issue.
But supply, in your view, family office advisors need to have 15 years experience. And this whole industry, wealth management industry, is relatively new. The RIA regulations are relatively new. So supply obviously could be a constraint as well, right? If you want experienced bankers to become family office advisors and trusted, then surely supply is an issue as well.
So if you look at the best of the private bankers today, most of them continue to work in wealth management firms because I feel the compensation method and the remuneration is much, much higher than a family office. If you look at both, I don't want to talk about any other family office, but if you look at this industry per se, hiring talent is the most difficult thing what we have found. Okay, and we continue to have this challenge. And
Right.
if you talk to any other family office, they'll say the same thing because you don't get people don't want to join a family office because they believe that this model is, first of all, it's not scalable. It can't compensate you the way the private banks or wealth management outfits will compensate. So what happens is the best of the wealth managers, either they start their own, okay, have some 5, 6 clients, they start their own kind of a small multi-family office, or they will continue to be working in a large private bank, earning millions. Okay, so that's the way this business is modeled. So what happens is you have it's very tough to build a large kind of a family office because particularly the kind of the quality of advisors you can hire is not much.
And on the demand side, what is stopping Indian families from asking for such services? Is it just not knowing that these exist or that they may be available, or what exactly is it that's stopping the demand? And is there anything that we can do about it?
Actually, I would say to a certain extent, mindset issues there because if you have one person, you need to confide in them. It's a confidant. You call it confidant, right? It's like basically, if you look at large families those days, even now, in some of the large families in Delhi, Bombay, and all, they used to have one guy who knows everything about the family. Okay, who takes care of the liquidity, he will arrange travel, he will arrange cash for them if suppose they need something, if they will, what do you say, if he knows all the real estate issues, he will know the family issues, everything he will know. It's a confidant. Okay, so what is a family office trying to replace? The family office is a new age confidant who's replacing the munim. Okay, now what happens is the family is not open to have one person with whom they can confide everything. Okay, it's like a divide and rule, right? They will tell one to one kind of a wealth manager. They've got relationships with multiple people. They want to maintain relationships. Some people very clearly told me saying that, hey, I don't have much to do. I like meeting different wealth managers. They come and talk. We have a coffee. We have a nice talk with them. And so I don't want to consolidate everything with one person because I will be bored. Okay, so there are a lot of reasons. Okay, reasons can't be one, but I really believe that mindset could be one of the reasons why people are not, what do you say, still wanting to consolidate everything with one family. And other one is very clearly saying that maybe a kind of an insecurity, saying that why we should give everything to one person. What happens tomorrow if suppose that office folds up or something like that? These are things which are normally people get in their mind, right? So all this will go over a period of time. Okay, I think I'm sure that the same problems would have existed even in international markets. It has taken 50 years for them to graduate. We are talking in the ninth year or 10th year now in the Indian family office industry. Maybe after 10 years, if we both have a conversation, things will be maybe different.
Right. Okay. So on that note, I thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else that that you want to say just before we end?
No, thank you very much for having me over. It was a very, very interesting conversation. So thanks a lot, and I appreciate the work what you're doing in the space. I think it's going to help a lot of people. Thank you very much, Hansi.
Right. Thank you. And as I said, what we're doing is this interview should be viewed in conjunction with profiles that we're preparing on each firm, which we're taking from publicly available sources, so your website and so on. So that is ready as well. So this is going to be seen in conjunction with that. So thank you again very much for your time, and we'll catch you next time.